and one of the biggest reasons why we do this is because of people like Daniela Weiss, who was on with Piers Morgan. I'm sure you're aware of this.
He knows who she is. Everybody knows everybody who understands what's going on knows who she is.
All right. This is about as mask off of an interview as could possibly get. And if you get Piers Morgan to basically say you're a nut job, then you clearly are one. So as Jen likes to say, fly Icarus fly. As far as I'm concerned, let Mrs. Weiss get on as many TV shows as possible, because she is of Israel. Zionism.
Show yourself, lady. Show your crazy self.
Okay, and Mrs. Weiss, how do you feel about the fact that over 20,000 Palestinian children have now been killed since October the 7th?
200,000, Piers. If you're going to say it, at least get the number right.
In Gaza.
I think that the Palestinians, as you said, I said Palestinians, the Gazans and all Arabs around should stop attacking Israel.
Well, I just asked you how you thought about 20,000 children being killed by the IDF. So how do you feel about that?
I think that the parents should be very careful before they teach the children to hate Jews and to kill Jews.
No, that wasn't my question. That wasn't my question.
Sorry. I have to stop this. Can I just, as somebody who is raised Zionist Jew, tell you that we were raised to hate Arabs? This is so projecting on her part. She has no idea what she's talking about. It's just so infuriating. I cannot stand this woman. I'm sorry.
Geez, how do you think Wally feels about her?
Yeah, what do you thoughts?
So I actually took legal. I've been taking. I'm like the Trump administration. These policies made everything so much harder. I was taking legal action against her, and I actually got her sanctioned in Canada. So I've been. I know. So I despise this lady so much. It's just like she. I think that deep down, she not only does she not care about the deaths, but I think she's actually happy about it, and I think she wants the number to be higher.
I think she's a psychopath. And I think that when you're a psychopath, that we can't. The problem is that non-psychopaths really are not capable of understanding the thought process, right? Like, it's just not, like, it's so hard to wrap your head around somebody that takes satisfaction in this sick shit, because that's just not, it's just so abnormal.
Yeah. No, that's exactly, and you guys have probably seen that video of her from like a while ago where she's like, from the Nile to the Euphrates, and this is as radical Zionist as you can get. I don't think you can get as much Zionist, as radical as believing that you're gonna take over the entire Middle East, I was working, one of the bigger initiatives, actually larger than the education initiative that I was working on with All of Peace, was after October 7th, a lot of young men from my family's village were shot and killed by Yitzhar. So there's a lot of settlements in the West Bank. The most violent extremist settlement in the West Bank is called the Yitzhar settlement, and they're right next to my family's village. After October 7th, they came, they always come down and they always set things on fire. But after October 7th, they killed a young boy from my family's village. He was about 9 years old. They killed another boy. He was 16 years old. And Yitzhar is known for these thing called price tag attacks. So they kind of like spearheaded the price tag attack movement, which is basically they'll go to a Palestinian village and they'll preemptively basically commit a terrorist attack. Like, they'll preemptively beat somebody or kill somebody or vandalize something to basically teach the Palestinians to basically subjugate them, is what they try to do. So they try to instill the fear very early on. So they call it price tag attacks for basically Palestinians just being alive.
That's like what we would call, like, when in certain neighborhoods you had to pay a certain fee for protection because you never know what could come and happen to you. Just bully shit.
Yeah. And they do it because they have this Zionist ideology that they're taught at a very, very early age. And at least Yitzhar, the settlers there, they're also called Hilltop Youth. They're these young men. They truly just don't treat us as, I've never seen something. I visited the West Bank back in 2022, and I've never really experienced racism. Maybe like it's a small degrees, but I'm definitely privileged in a lot of aspects. But I'd say this is even beyond racism, where they don't even look at you as a different human race; they look at you as non-human. I can't explain it. Like I was looked at by a settler when I was in the West Bank, like I was genuinely like a cockroach or a bug to them or something.
Yes.
You are to them.
It's because people like this have been doing propaganda. Like this woman, by the way, if people don't know who Daniela Weiss is, she's who Israel has nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Hey, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, I really want Francesca Albanese to get the Nobel Peace Prize, but please give it to her.
Well, the truth is, if people like Obama and Henry Kissinger have gotten a Nobel Peace Prize, it doesn't mean much anyway. But still, I do find it ridiculous.
One thing about us Americans, Wally, is that there's a lot of things that we're willing to tolerate, but when we are constantly mocked, like the state of Israel is doing to us, and the Trump administration is gleefully going right along with it, there's only so much they're willing to take. And the rejection of the state of Israel is coming in full force now. So it probably is not very surprising that Daniela conducts herself the way she does throughout the interview.
You're going to make me suffer through this, aren't you?
Indeed.
Sorry to be persistent, but my question.
That was your question.
My question was, how do you feel? My question was, how do you feel? How do you personally feel about over 20,000 Palestinian children now being killed since October the 7th in Gaza? How do you feel about that?
I think that Arabs, Gazans or Jordanians or Syrians, whoever, should be very, very careful with the way they educate the children.
Yeah, that wasn't my question. That wasn't my question.
Many of them.
Can you answer my question?
Answer. That was my answer.
So you don't care? You have no thoughts about these children at all?
You choose your questions, and I answer them the way I believe is right.
But just to be clear, you have nothing to say about 20,000 children being killed. Nothing at all.
I have a lot to say about everything that happened as a result of the massacre of the 7th of October.
I understand you care about Israeli children who died, as do I. But I'm able to care about both sides of children who've died. Why don't you care, seemingly, about the Palestinian children who've died? Why can't you express any sympathy or sorrow or empathy with the children who've died in Gaza? Are you able to do that?
I warn all Arabs from all sides, from all borders, warn them, stop educating children to hate Jews.
So just to be clear, I've now offered you three times.
I made myself very clear.
Oh, you've made yourself very clear.
You asked me 5 times.
I'm going to give you one last.
You asked me 7 times.
Okay, I'm going to give you one last chance to offer some empathy or sympathy or sorrow about the deaths of 20,000 children in Gaza. Are you capable of doing that?
No.
Just look at
the caucasity. This is the thing. How dare she answer with like she's somehow giving the Arabs a warning? First of all, she did say Palestinian in the beginning and then sort of like made a note of the fact that she said that. But of course, she then reverted to form because all the Arabs. But, how dare she say that anyway? Like they need to learn not to teach their children that. This is one of the most vile, hateful people on the fucking planet.
And she's one of the leading spokespeople for the Zionist cause, which is what makes it even more interesting. That shit-eating grin on her face.
I can't with her.
I mean, that's the thing, Wally. That's really the dehumanization that the Zionist movement represents is what we constantly have to throw in people's faces. It doesn't happen overnight because...
And she's one of many. Let's be very clear.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got like 80-something%, maybe even more of Israelis are pretty much with her. Pretty close. If not, there might be some variance in the spectrum of like the severity of complete psychopathy. But for the most part, they're with her. That's what people don't understand. Like, this is not an outlier.
Well, that's the one thing, Wally, that we talk about a lot on our channel is how a lot of this is steeped in class consciousness and politics. So when somebody like Jerry Seinfeld or Deborah Messing or any of the pick your celebrity Jewish person that is blindly, affectionately behind Israel. So much of it is based on class. I do think that there is a sizable Jewish population in the country that is not on board with what's going on. But those that come from a comfortable background, South Florida, New York City, San Francisco, Chicago, places like that.
It's the white Ashkenazis that were brainwashed from our youth that have not been able to unravel it, that are stuck.
But you would have to, from your personal experiences, I mean, obviously having such a platform on Instagram, I mean, if you had people that have shared sentiments that, perhaps at one time I believed this and I was wrong, and now I see the light and I see it differently, has that been something you've experienced, even if it's through private messaging?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think it definitely and in different ways. Well, there's a lot of the activists in the Palestine space are non-Zionist Jews that I've met, and I didn't even realize the degree to which, so that was one thing. And there's also a lot of non-Zionist Jews that started off as Zionists, and I've seen them share their stories, one of which is yourself, and I've also gotten DMs from a lot of them. So I've definitely had experiences like that. Actually, one of my closest friends for the past 4 years, although my platform growing has kind of made our relationship a little bit different, but she was a non-Zionist Jew. She is a non-Zionist Jew. I met her in medical school, and she's always said, I just don't really believe in an ethno-state. I really don't see the point of it. I don't really feel any affiliation with it. I'm an American. I've never really, it's just like not it's just really, I don't really understand it. She's in a lot of Jewish spaces. She has a lot of Jewish friends, and she's never really felt that. She's never really understood it, and she's always been like that. And she's so it really is, it really just like depends on the person. What I have noticed though is that the way I approach the conversation between the left and the right is different now, and I've noticed that that it's more effective for me when I think Democrats and left-leaning individuals and libertarians as well, it's easier to tug on their heartstrings a little bit, and you can come at it from the place of human rights, and you can come at it from the place of like, this is just like blatantly wrong. I've noticed with conservatives on X and just conservatives in general, that does work, but it takes a little bit longer. But what I have more noticed, though, is pushing it from the perspective of like, this is just not America first.
Oh, not at all.
No.
So I think that there's also a messaging thing where I've noticed that what I try to do a lot is tackle it both ways. So I'll definitely tug on the heartstrings just because it's just like, this is blatantly wrong. And it speaks for itself. But then also there's a group of people that there's just some people that genuinely, they don't care, they really don't care. And with those people, you really kind of have to explain to them logically how this also just doesn't benefit American interests in any way whatsoever. None of this is good for America. Right. For example, Daniela Weiss, during Biden's administration, Biden had Executive Order 14115. That's one of the big things that I use with all of pieces. It basically sanctioned settlers in the West Bank that committed violence or displaced Palestinians. He put this order out in April, I think, of 2024. And I basically just like went balls to the walls with it. I started working with Dawn, a nonprofit organization, and we just started targeting all the settlers in the West Bank that like killed my family. We started targeting just like the lower level ones that had no huge positions, worked our way up. And we targeted one of the head security people at the settlement. And then we were pushing to get Daniela Weiss sanctioned by the U.S. government, and we knew it wasn't going to happen in time because then Trump took office, and the first thing he did, literally the first day Trump took office, is he reversed the executive order, day one. And then the next day, he gives a press conference about how it's horrible that South Africa is taking land away from people. He has no idea how South Africa can just take people's land. He's referring to the whole white South African farmers thing.
We covered that.
Really terrible situation.
We covered the white African refugees that they were supposedly. Which
it was just like a slap in the face to me. Like, dude, like, okay, cool, you can empathize. I didn't look too much into it to give an educated statement on what's going on there, but you can say, okay, taking away people's land is wrong. Whether or not it was happening, I'm not sure. But if you can agree that taking away people's land and homes is wrong, but then you can't just take that same argument and put it on these people that you just removed in an executive order that called against the displacement of their land. It baffled me. So when that happened, all of my, the sanctions and everything dropped. So then we kind of had to reroute our efforts. Now we work with some international organizations to get them sanctioned in like Canada, the EU. But I mean, if Canada sanctioned me right now, it would literally have no effect on my life. I have no Canadian bank accounts. I don't exchange in the Canadian currency. And nothing gives as much weight to sanctions as the US dollar because it stops you from even using any financial transactions. So the weight's gone there. So it brought a sense of hopelessness, honestly, because that was the one thing that I was so motivated and we were seeing some sort of progress towards. It's just crazy. I don't know. That's kind of where it's like, okay, if this is there's literally, it's only America first to just like be pro humanity. So doing something like this where it just doesn't make sense to me, I guess. It just doesn't.
Will you just finish this so I could stop staring at this woman, Peter, please?
Sure.
I can tell you that had you cared, and I don't believe you that you care a tiny bit about one killed person, if you do not use the means that you have as a media person to stop educating children.
I gave you 4 chances.
Jews. Right. Okay, you gave me 7. You gave me 7.
And you know what? You couldn't give a damn, could you?
That you are to blame more than me.
You don't care, and all you want is all the Palestinians gone. You can barely even bring yourself to say their name. All you want is to take over the West Bank and Gaza. You don't care how many die in the process. You want them all gone. You don't care, do you? That's the bottom line.
Yep.
As you said, the audience will judge.
Yeah, they will.
Oh, we will.
Daniela Weiss, thank you very much for coming on Uncensored.
Oh, my God. I feel like I need a shower just from watching that. She's
Piers, you don't have to thank her for coming on. If anything, you could thank her for continuing to expose that genocidal state.
She's just, you know what, though? But the more that regular people that are just tools and don't know any better that watch somebody like Piers Morgan, the more that people like that see the psychopathy, then that's just better. So I don't mind her talking and people seeing that. Like I said, I like to know who my bigots are.
Yeah. No, and I agree. I think that the tides are turning. I guess my fear is like, are they going to turn in time? I don't know if it's just going to happen soon enough. But there is a shift, absolutely.
I don't think it will for the people in Gaza.
Not for Gaza. They're pretty much, they're going to be finished. The problem is that they're going to be finished because this is Nazi Germany all over again. This is like final solution type stuff. Rather than have any awareness or any come to Jesus moment, if you will, it's no, let's just kill them all. If we are going to lose our apartheid state, which they will lose, then this is what's going to happen. Our goal as Americans has to be, we must sever the relationship between the United States and Israel forever. Like this has to be our life's work, is to make sure that AIPAC can no longer control our economic and political system. And if we continue to get that message out there, what you're noticing is that a substantial portion of MAGA agrees with us, that they do not want Israel controlling our lives. And that is the fight of a lifetime.